Hi Tupelo High School, I'm Liza Armenta with this week's sports. Tomorrow, cross country competes at Clinton for their state meet. This will bring the team season to an end. Maddie tells us about a freshman named Taylor and his brother Andrew who are excelling in cross country. Their father also enjoys this sport. It clearly runs in the family. Maddie has more.
Many families have their traditions, and for the boys of the Brown family, running is a sport that has been a staple in their lives for generations. The tradition starts with Mr. Jim Brown, who believes that his boys developed a love for their sport all their own.
I never really pushed them into running. I just wanted them to develop interest in it, a love for it on their own, and they both did in their own time.
With the influence of their father, Taylor, who is the oldest of the Brown siblings, says that being in a family of runners pushes him to be his best every day.
Probably because everyone's fast, and if you're not fast, you're just gonna be left behind, you know? Everyone's grinding, and I don't know, I like to be faster than my dad, and I don't want my brother to be faster than me, so.
The youngest boy of the family, Andrew, says that his dad and brother are his inspirations and motivate him to run his best every time he steps foot on the course.
My dad, he kind of motivates me to be my best, and Taylor, one day probably getting to beat him, that'll be great, and just pretty much my dad and Taylor.
The Browns' display of hard work and dedication can be seen in a range of accomplishments, from setting the Tupelo Middle School state meet record to running in the Boston Marathon.
My biggest accomplishment is probably breaking the state record for middle school, the 3K and the 2 mile.
Probably breaking 10 in the 2 mile in 8th grade and making it to state.
Well, I've run the Boston Marathon 3 times, and every time I've run a marathon, I've qualified for Boston.
The Browns show that when you work hard and together as a family, everyone can win. I'm Maddie James, WTHS News.
Thanks, Maddie. Stay tuned next week for the results on the meet. Last week, football played at Clinton and ended with the score of 14-17. This game determined that they will not be going to the playoffs this year. The football game this week has been moved to Thursday due to logistical and scheduling issues. Football played Germantown on Thursday, which ended of a score of 14-10. This ended the team season with a record of 7-4. Seniors tell us about how they felt of this being their last game in high school.
It felt like amazing, but it felt heartbreaking at the same time because, you know, it was the last time that I ever put Tupelo on, or like Tupelo gear on, or step on a blue turf.
It felt good. We ended on a good note, so yeah, I mean, it got a little emotional, but it felt good though.
Speaking of football, Cheer is one of their biggest supporters, and they competed in Memphis this past Saturday and came in 5th place. This is their first competition and a start to their competitive season. Stay tuned for more. Girls basketball played for the first time in the Old Hound Dog Classic this past Saturday. They beat North Panola with a score of 79-44. They will play tonight against Holly Springs at home, and the first 30 students will get in free. Stay tuned next week for the results. That's all we have for this week's edition of Sports Media. Stay tuned next week for more updates on sports. I'm Liza Armenta, WTHS.